There are a lot of videos on this subject that offer advice, but sometimes you don't know whether that advice is based on hearsay, an opinion, or an actual experience. This advice is coming from someone who was sent to Thailand for a year-long tour of duty by the military when he was young and stupid, made more than his share of mistakes, and had to deal with the consequences. The lessons that his experiences have taught him has made him somewhat less stupid, but much, much wiser. Here are the guidelines that he has developed that have kept him safe, healthy, and has made his numerous trips to Thailand thoroughly enjoyable. Guideline number 1. Do your homework. It is just so baffling how people will head off to some country that is very different from their own, thinking that things are just like they are at home, and then can't understand how they've gotten themselves into trouble. How they will intentionally go to the biggest tourist traps and are outraged at being ripped off. How, out of curiosity, will wander through the red light districts and are appalled. What did they expect? Just one example of doing one's homework. One of the basic rules of travel is anything you can't afford to lose should be left at home. The problem is there is something you can't afford to lose that you have to take with you: your passport. A lost or stolen passport can be a trip-ruining occurrence. It must be quickly replaced, and you do that through your country's embassy or consulate. However, in places like Samui, Phuket, or Pattaya, your country might not have an embassy or consulate, and then you're going to have to go to Bangkok. So you're going to have to do your homework and find out your embassy or consulate's location, hours of operation, and the phone number. On the subject of passports, some misguided advice is that you must keep your passport on you at all times. Not a good idea. What you can do is to make a photocopy of your information pages, and also include any other kind of photo ID that you have. You should be able to get all that onto one 8x11. Make some copies, and that is what you keep with you at all times. Your passport stays in your room safe. About room safes, do not book any hotel or go into any short-time hotel that does not have a room safe. As long as there's a safe, your valuables and money will be secure. Unless the girl you're with is some kind of Jeff Seatar. Now, let's get into the adult entertainment. Thailand may be the only place where any kind of guy can go and have a recreational encounter with some of the most beautiful and exotic-looking women on the planet. If you think you're too old, too out of shape, too uncool, too shy, too inept, even too unable, think again. Don't look at these girls and think they're out of your league. This is a different ballgame, where the only required talent is the ability to spend money. And there is something for every taste and every comfort level. Participation in adult entertainment is risky business. The potential dangers are nothing to sneeze your nose at. Once again, we're back to homework. Learn how the various STDs are transmitted. You get this information from reliable sources like WebMD or the Mayo Clinic. Guideline number 2. Condoms. It is unimaginable how somebody would not use condoms here, but stupidity has no bounds. But for those of us with brain cells, we're not just talking condoms. We're talking industrial strength condoms, especially if Ladyboys are going to be involved. Your average condom has a thickness of 0.05 mils. There are a couple of Japanese brands that have a thickness of 0.1 mils. There are more readily available brands like Lifestyles Max that are 0.09 mils. Lifestyles Max are appropriately enough made in Thailand. Do not double up any condom. All that does is increase the risk of tearing. Guideline 3 for some is going to be the most difficult to follow. Don't get drunk. Now, we're not talking about getting a little bit of a buzz on. We're talking about what the Thais sometimes refer to as kimao, which can be literally translated as shit-face. Guys who get themselves into this condition tend to throw caution to the wind, and then if they catch something, they're blaming the girls. Or, if they are the instant asshole, just add alcohol type, they could get themselves into some very serious trouble. So be careful, and don't put yourself in jeopardy. Here's a subject that some find revolting. If you don't want to listen to it, go to 854. The reality is, the best looking and the best dressed tend to be ladyboys. Some of them are stunning. Now, we're not talking about the part-time, cross-dressing transvestite drag queens you can see out taking pictures with tourists. We're talking about the hardcore, full-time women wannabes, the classic female trapped in a male body. Some have gone as far as having the operation, or final cut as it's sometimes called. They are referred to as post-ops. So now you have three possibilities: the natural woman, the ladyboy, or the post-op. There are a growing number who stop short of the operation and prefer to be the proverbial chicks with dicks. They can be referred to as petit sam, or gender number 3. Thailand has become the reassignment surgery capital of the world. The doctors and facilities are first rate at 1/3 of the cost. Right now they're averaging about 2 or 3 operations per week. Statistics say there are between 250 and 320,000 transgenders in Thailand, and that number is growing. The reason there are so many transgenders in Thailand is that the Thais are very tolerant. They don't view this as a problem or as a threat to anything. While the transgenders have been included in Thai society, they haven't been thoroughly accepted. All kinds of guides have been published or posted on how to identify a ladyboy, but the individual characteristics they give are not unique to ladyboys. You have to put several together, and even then you can't be sure. The bottom line is you can easily be fooled, and fooled both ways. The only way to be sure is to ask. They won't get offended. They don't want to find themselves in an awkward or worse situation any more than you do. Some will tell you early on, others will not. If they don't, it's not necessarily because they're trying to be sneaky, it's because they assume you know what you're doing. You may also want to ask if they are top or bottom. Top meaning they prefer the male role, and bottom meaning they prefer the female role. Some will go both ways, but usually prefer one over the other. Some may find the plethora of choices here to be overwhelming, but this is what people come here for. One choice that is sometimes overlooked is the older woman. Some of them are quite beautiful, and of course, there is no substitute for experience. Well, we hope we've provided information to help the newbie enjoy himself, avoid trouble, and stay safe. We hope to have been of some help.